Hey everyone, welcome back to Cloud Consultant channel. In today's video, we're going to break down how we can uh, securely access the corporate applications without using VPN by leveraging service called AWS Verified Access. So in this tutorial, I'm going to talk about what this service is and going to walk through about the traditional architectures, what it used to look without zero trust practice, and what was the traditional approach, and what additional benefit we get when we start using verified access. Uh, yeah, I think let's move to the next slide. So this is more of like accessing a corporate applications through private connection. So this is where comes in, like, organizations often use VPN, like VPN direct connect or VPN client to access the internal VPN internal applications. But this comes with an implicit trust model where anyone with a VPN access get a broader application access, right? So the problem is authorization is tied to a network access, not user context. Plus the complexity of managing the rules across network, identity, and app layer become a burden. So that's one of our disadvantage. And one also thing, after COVID, people started working from anywhere, like, working from home, working from other places. So connecting VPN was a bit challenge, and user has to meet the all the client and everything has to be there. And the security has to be there in order to make the things happen. So direct connect and side-to-side VPN was not at all a good, or not at all a prominent solution and scalable solution. This has certain bugs, but more of it was looking like this when you used your remote user to connect from your on-site or from your remote, or from home, or from anywhere else, right? So they used to use a client, VPN client. AWS has its own VPN client. Then from the data center, they used to use, or from the offices, they use a site-to-site or direct connect to your application, right? So this gives the information on how the traditionally connectivity was being accessed till now. Uh, the other approach for connecting, like remote accessing to your corporate application via the internet, right? So you have your application, you have instance load balancer, you have your WAF, which is protecting at the web application layer. And on top of your application load balancer, you have cognitive for authentication and authorization. So this is published over the internet through internet way, and any user want to connect to the corporate data center, right? So generally, WAP allows the permission to whitelist a public IP, and only the user from the offices or this dedicated IP will be able to connect to the load balancer. So that was one of the approach, but still the traffic was going through internet and connecting to your application. So uh, the barrier was there in this as well. So in this approach involve converting a SAML, to OIDC token. So this was also taken care of, at this layer. Um, so one of I say, like, community is sitting in between, but there is operational overhead for managing your users and managing your lot of things, right? So it's still being used, but think of this way, like, if you have a financial applications which need to be accessed with a dedicated users, right, dedicated site or dedicated offices. So traffic going from the internet, it's not a good idea, right? So attacker can come in between and they can play bad traffic can be put in the place. So yeah, I think next was, I think I Yeah. So this is more of the, like, what traditionally it was, right? Now I'll just come up with a slide, like, saying, like, what is AV, right? AWS Verified Access. How AWS Verified Access is going to replace, and what are the benefits, right? So looking at this picture, right? If you understand, like we have a three layer, right? In organizations, generally, network admin used to take care of managing the VPN policies. Developer integrate the identity into the application. So every security people connect with the developer. They make sure that each and application has the authentication page built up, right? So that was another layer which was getting built and managed by the developer. IT admin manages manage which device can be on board to the network. So even IT admin has a different policies, sort of all malware detective, on a defender, other policy, which which they are managing on the remote laptop, right? So so these three layers were having a different set of roles and getting playing at there. So combining to this, right? If you combine to this all three policies, whether it's your network policy, like like managing a VPN policy, so having replacing this VPN policy with AWS verified access policy. We have in the policy management gives you control to also add the policy for the users are coming from dedicated IP or dedicated country or dedicated yeah, laptop, right? So those sort of policy can be defined, and if the person is coming from the user who has the Bitdefender or antivirus installed on the laptop, those users can only connect to the my application, right? So those sort of policy can be defined by the IT admin. So it can also be defined in the verified access into place. So in short, these three layers, three roles were getting replaced with a zero trust practice. So verified access is mainly build is built on a zero trust principles, and we call as a AVA, where Amazon verified access validate every access request continuously. So using users to device context, right? So it eliminates the need of VPN, federation, proxy, and simplify the access by making application the center of security, not the network. So yeah, I think that's more of like then I need to also talk about like the moment your verified access comes in picture, right? How it looks, right? So you still have your corporate data center users who's going to connect to your application, right? So you have your applications running with the EC2 instance, load balancers, or ENI, and in between we are putting the verified access. It has two role. One is verified access instance and group, which has its own ability to manage the policies. So CDR is a policy management under the verified access, which allows you makes you like grant the granular level of policy whenever the traffic or user authenticate. So I'll explain how. So basically, on top of this verified access, there is also WAF application getting deployed. So any traffic from the internet comes, it will also have the WAF protections. Um, and at the front end layer, it also comes with a identity center. So want to connect to the application, any financial application, they need to first authenticate using your SAML authentication, and then it can load. So how the flow looks, right? The user connecting to a corporate data center, right? Still, it will go through internet. Whenever they type abc.com, it will come and it will first it will open the identity center page for authenticating and authorizing with 2MFA. So once the user get authorized, they have second layer, right? So so one, two, three, and then they have second layer where your verified access instance comes in. So on top of that, we have also the web application firewall. So verified instance comes with its own public endpoint, right? It is getting created in AWS managed network. So and on top of that, the web application firewall is getting applied. So which means the
OAuth's top 20 security rules and other rules can also be used to have the more security compliance. So in this layer, so the moment the user authenticate, it comes to the WAF, and then after that, it also try validating the traffic is coming from what, which country, which IP, or which email address, right, or which devices. So whatever policy that you have been defined here, it will try connecting, checking all the policies. If all the policy is getting checked, and if some and it's getting checked, then the traffic will get forwarded and the user will be able to access the application. So if any of the checks is getting denied, right? Like suppose user is not coming with a defined devices or defined email address, right? uh, he will be able to not able to go further and access the page applications. So without any VPN client, still we are having a layer called uh, identity center for all your authentication. You have a layer where you are managing everything in the policies, and after this policy, the user can connect. And so that's where the principle of zero trust comes in. Um, it's allow you to scale, and it's allow you to groom like anything. So that's a simple architecture which denotes about how verified access can be put in front of your applications. Yeah, this is more of the authentication authorization flow of verified access requests. So user connecting. First, it will connect to authorizer provider, right? So it gives the flow about how the user connect and the response is coming to user, right? If any sort of discrimination, or like if the user is not having access, right, the response will get as a denied, and it will fail. So this is the flow of how the authentication authorization comes, and how your external IDP provider also can connect. So when I say external IDP, which means that you can bring your any existing external SAML provider, or if you have any OIDC, right, connected. So whether it's Okta, whether it's a Jump Cloud, or any sort of Microsoft Activity Entra or anything. So these are uh, the flow of authentication authorization request. Uh, so once that is done, how to set up the AWS verified access, right? So it's very simple, like So first of all, in AWS we have service called AWS Verified Access, where the VPN lets access to corporate application, right? So it has four steps. Like first, we need to connect the trusted providers. So which means you have to connect this verified access with your third-party IDP, or you have to connect. If you don't have third-party, AWS Identity Center can be used for as IDP identity provider. And then after that, the moment you connect to the trusted provider, you have to associate your application. So we need to create a public endpoint for your corporate application. So this is where the integration comes in. So you'll have to have you're creating the verified access endpoint and putting behind the traffic of load balancer. So it suppose it support the network load balancer and the as well. So and this part is mainly for policy creation. So once you have done all the setup, this tool like adding an application, and then you need to create all the policies, whether it's a country origin, IP origin, email address. There is too many policies that can be used to maintain as per your standard, company standard. And then user access the application from anywhere, right? So if he's coming with that policy and he's adhering that policy, he can access the application easily. So it's a it's a kind of four step which easily define how to access it. Uh, in the last, I think I will brief about this. So how your application in all together looks, right? Like so, user connecting from the browser, it has a device agent, right? It has a malware. So we make sure that this configuration has been mentioned in the AWA policy as a header, like saying that any user connecting from the wants to connect to my application should have this device agent, right, running in that, otherwise the user won't able to reach and bypass this layer. So user connecting, having the valid request from the browser, it comes to the WAF first, and the WAF, after WAF it comes to the verified access instance, where it comes with the two layer. One is the AWA policy document, which means it's all the policies that you have written as a compliant standard. Second is you have also integrating with the identity center. So any request comes and hit your URL, it will go to WAF, and then it checks the all the policies written here. Then it checks the SAML authentications, right? So username, password, 2MFA has to be um, passed out here. So the moment this is getting satisfied, the requests get forwarded to your actual application. So that's a total about how secure it is, right? Without having a VPN client, zero trust practice is definitely replacing the VPN a lot, and this is a scalable operation for your remote workforce. So yeah, I think that's more of wanted to bring up that to. So I think yeah. So I think in the next video we will continue with maybe we'll continue with the demo, setting up the verified access from scratch, and yeah. So if this was helpful, give the thumbs up and let me know if anything that need to be added in comment. And see you in the next video. Thank you.